So, game over for Game of Thrones. I haven't done any Game of Thrones videos because I was woefully behind, and I kept avoiding other videos because they would talk about it, but it was impossible, and the death of the Night King was spoiled long before I saw it. And just the details. So I'll get into all of this. So essentially, I was behind. I hadn't seen season 7 yet either, for a number of reasons, things going on and all that. And I don't know why. It seems like I would have, because I really, really enjoyed Game of Thrones, and it was one of my all-time favorites. But so I ended up having to binge both seasons. And that's what I did. Boy, that's even though they're very short, that's a lot of Game of Thrones. And I could see elements of what people had. First of all, is there wokeness in the Game of Thrones? And it's a bit more slapped on in the 8th season than it is and the 7th one, even though it's still sort of there. You know, the little girl who ends up being in the position of ruling her house, and I don't need your permission, and all this sort of thing. And it's absurd. I mean, finally in the Battle of Winterfell with the army of the dead coming and all that, and Tyrion wants to fight, but no, Tyrion, you have to stay down below. But the 10-year-old girl, yeah, she can fight. Come on. And then you have to have a little girl takes on the bull moment with the giant there, and it's just ridiculous. So there you go. But that's the sort of thing that you slap on, and it's so obvious that it's you. Like I keep coming to this, you do not want to take people out of your story, your narrative, your movie, or your TV show, what have you. And it's one of those things that's so blatant and obvious. It's like in Endgame, where all of a sudden they have their all-female team moment and it's like Captain Marvel's not alone. And yeah, but they're not really a team. They just happen to be fighting at the same time. And it's just, you just do that. It's almost as if you should have they should all be drinking Cokes to show that Coca-Cola was a sponsor or something. It's just so blatant and obvious. It's stupid. So when you do things like that, it's to the show's detriment. And so there was a bit of that here and there. But at the same time, you had what happens to Daenerys. And by the end, if you haven't seen it, I'm sorry, but by now, it doesn't end well for the Mother of Dragons. She goes dark very fast and murders just about all these innocent people in King's Landing, and this forces all her advisors to turn against her, and eventually Jon Snow has to kill her. And that's that. And Drogon the dragon picks her up her corpse and flies away into the sunset. So there you go. That's it for the Mother of Dragons. And poor old Jon, well, he's got to go back to the wall because they built it back up apparently, and he's back at the Night Watch because, well, I guess another army of the dead could show up someday. Of course he abandons it, and I guess he's kind of breaking the rules. I don't know, maybe, but he goes off to live with the free folk. So, what have you. And then Bran, of course, becomes king. Now, Daenerys going dark, that doesn't bother me in and of itself. It's just the delivery. It's quite slapped on and rushed. So on top of the stupid feminist messages tacked on, and a plot that could have worked very well, and that would be the ultimate fate of Daenerys, it just, all of a sudden she's dark. Now, granted, terrible things happen. Cersei murders her best friend there, Missandei, and it's horrible, and it's so cruel, and she's had it, and that's understandable. But she had wiped out the giant arrows, and all you had to do was fly to that castle and barbecue Cersei, and you're done. Instead, it takes her forever to get to the castle, and she's barbecuing everybody, these little kids and stuff. I mean, it's just, come on. And then of course she's out of her mind, you know, and she's telling John, I'm going to liberate everybody. Now, the odd thing about this is a lot of the militant third wave feminism of today is so far afoot, to the point that it's at the point of, to the detriment of women. You know, it's almost, it's not just misandry, it's got misogyny sprinkled in it. And you get these whack jobs out there. So the only thing missing from Daenerys at that point is she didn't dye her hair pink or blue or something. And, you know, so it's kind of odd that, yeah, the revolutionaries, they tend to go dark. They get consumed with their power and their own myth. And all of that would have been so good. And it's not a bad idea for a plot. It's just they didn't give it the time it needed. Now, granted, there were dark moments for Daenerys. You see it all the way back when her brother dies, and granted, her brother got what was coming to him, but still it's kind of a sinister spookiness about her and her reaction to it. And all her grievances are certainly, she's entitled to them because she suffered so terribly and all that. But it doesn't give her license to commit mass murder of children like that. And so, of course, Snow had no choice. But it really needed the time. I just don't find it believable that Daenerys had reached that point, that there was enough there that even the death of her friend like that was enough to snap her into it. No, I don't buy that. So that's problematic. The second thing, and probably even more annoying for me, was, of course, the death of the Night King. Now, I'd heard that, Arya Stark kills the Night King, and a lot of people were upset about it, thought it was stupid, and that this was another a female empowerment moment or what have you. But when I'd heard it, I thought, so I wonder if because she's become this super assassin with the ability to, you know, disguise herself and all that stuff. And it practically looks like sorcery to me. You know? So I thought, she's going to fool this guy and get in there and sneak and do a sneaky attack on him. And that'll do it. And then when the deal about Brian saying, says, yeah, I'm going to lure him to me because he wants to kill me. And so I said, that's it. That's what's going to happen. Instead, no, she's running around being chased by zombies and all that. And she ends up with the Hound and what's his face, you know, the guy from the Lord of the Light Worshippers. And they're running all over the place. And then finally, Theon is there to guard Bran, and everybody's dead but Theon. And then finally Theon is killed, and it's all very sad and everything. And then that's it. The Night King's about to kill Bran. And then out of nowhere comes Arya and kills him, and there you go. Oh, boy. Because for a second there, I thought Bran was going to all of a sudden pull his face off, and it's Arya. And you know, but there was no plan. What is he doing there? He goes off and goes into the minds of ravens to go look at stuff, and I don't know. And even in season 7, there was quite a few scenes where it would look like the old Game of Thrones, and other things it looked really cheap and slapped together. And I guess it's just everybody's tired, and they were done with this show, and they just wanted out, and they kind of just split one season into 2 to say that there's 8 seasons. And that was it. So, I mean, look, the show it achieved greatness in quite a few areas. And certainly Daenerys' story, that struggle from the very as bottom as you can get. And she's not empowered. She claws her way into power, you know, bit by bit. And it's a total believable transformation until the ending. That needed a lot more time and details that they just were not going to give it. And so it's really sad. Meanwhile, the thing about the Night King is that the war against the dead is over, and then they're back to the old petty thing with Cersei and all that. And then Well, it's pretty predictable where that's going to go. Even with one dragon, you're still greatly outmatched. And so, yeah, stupid Cersei, you lost. And now she's buried alive under the castle. It was also stupid and seemed kind of lackluster after the war with the dead, which just sort of ends with a flea fart. That's about it. But then all the mystery and the wonder of it seemed to push this, that they had forgotten the magic wonder of their world, because it had been so long. And then all of a sudden the White Walkers start to show up, the dire wolves show up, the dragons show up, on and on. And then to the point that Jon Snow dies and is brought back from the dead. And who was the Lord of Light? And was there, what's her face said, there's not 7 gods, there's only 2. And Lord of the Light was one, and the other was the god that was in charge of the White Walkers and the Night King and all that. Or I assume it's the gods of fire and ice battling it out. But it's left up in nebulous mystery and whatnot. But it seemed like you would have gotten a little bit more, and I kind of wondered if Brian would know more about it or have and stuff like that. But no. And then it's funny because someone like the Hound literally has a vision in the fire and sees things, and then it's confirmed, and still he's kind of like, it's all bullshit, Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the disappointment at Lost, because the main star of Lost was the island, and you never got its story. So, oh well, there's still the books. If George R.R. Martin would just get off his ass and finish them. But like he said, there was still a loads of material to keep doing shows for quite a while, but obviously they just didn't want to. And look, it's a lot of stuff to dedicate your life to, especially when they want to pursue other opportunities. Obviously, Benioff and Weiss are going to go do Star Wars. Boy, I hope they use already written material from the Old Republic or something like that, because they can't seem to do it on their own. So when they have someone else's already established narrative, they're pretty good at that. But beyond that, I don't know. And the actors, of course, want to move on. And that's a tough thing to have them devoted to this show for like, what, 2 or 3 more seasons and stuff. It's probably not really doable when they're weighing other options and opportunities that they would have to pass on otherwise. So there you go. This isn't Last Jedi. It's not that bad. But boy, when a show like this that had achieved such great mountaintops to end like this, yeah, it's pretty sorry. And that's bad. I understand about the petition. Of course, the petition is to make a point. I don't think anyone seriously thinks someone's going to reshoot season 8, and they'd have to add more episodes to make Daenerys' story work. So yeah, it's not going to happen. So there you go. I don't know. It would probably 10, 20, maybe 30 years. Someone will do like a series of movies or something else. But right now, this is pretty much your Game of Thrones beyond the books. So that's it. It's done. So, well, there were some cool things here and there, but oh yeah, another thing. Boy, when you had the ginormous battle with the Army of the Dead, could somebody turn the goddamn lights on? I mean, you couldn't see anything. Oh well. Everybody else is mad, so what am I doing? Just piling on? Yeah, I guess so. So there you go. The end of Game of Thrones. Oh, it could have been so much more, but we got so much less. And sometimes the old saying, less is more, just doesn't apply. I guess not. All right, thank you for watching and listening. Say, why not like and subscribe? And if you already have subscribed, thank you very much. I do appreciate it. And hey, while you're here, check out the link description below. That'll take you to my podcast and to my many stores that have plenty of goodies for you. Yes, you.